Hello everybody and welcome to our very first Climate Livestream. I'm Robbie and I'm going to be your host today. First off, I'd like to thank everyone who's already posted their digital strike photos. If you haven't, take a photo with your climate strike sign and post it with hashtag #ClimateStrikeOnline. Tag SYCS as well. I'd also like to thank everybody watching this livestream right now. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube and follow our other social media. Today, you're going to hear the speeches of youth climate activists from across Scotland. Instead of holding massive in-person protests at several locations, current circumstances have forced us to switch to a digital strike, so we're making the best of it. Let's begin.
Hi, my name is Holly and I'm from Fort William. For decades, politicians have said that they can't act quickly on the climate crisis, but because of coronavirus, that excuse has been rendered meaningless. If our leaders can lock down cities and entire countries within days, then they can act quickly on climate and ecological breakdown. After coronavirus, we need to go back out onto the streets with even more energy and enthusiasm than before, because this is our chance to rebuild society. One where we are kind to one another, look out for one another, and one which puts people and the planet at the heart of decision making. During lockdown, people may begin to realise that we can't return to business as usual once this is all over, and that we can change in a crisis if we have the willpower. Now we are joining together to protect the elderly and the vulnerable during this crisis, and once this pandemic is over, we must come together again to protect our generation and the generations to come. Thank you.
Thanks to Holly for that inspiring speech. Just because we're not at an in-person rally doesn't mean we can't do some chants, guys. I want all of you, all across Scotland and the world, to chant with me. No more coal, no more oil, keep your carbon in the soil. No more coal, no more oil, keep your carbon in the soil. No more coal, no more oil, keep your carbon in the soil. No more coal, no more oil, keep your carbon in the soil. Thank you everyone. We'll do more chants later.
Right now, we are unable to hold mass gatherings due to COVID-19.
But we must not give up the fight for a future, even in these circumstances.
The coronavirus pandemic may have slightly slowed down emissions.
However, this is not nearly enough, and the fight for climate justice is far from over.
And on the 3rd of April,
join us in a digital strike for the climate.
Post a photo of yourself with your strike sign.
And don't forget to use the hashtags #ClimateStrikeOnline and Digital Strike Scotland.
We need everyone.
So get your friends, relatives and neighbours on board.
We must act now.
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 Hi, I'm Lily and I'm 15 years old and I want to stop climate change. Climate change has had devastating effects already. The fires in Australia got extinguished after 79 days burning. To put that into perspective, it's 2.5 months. 2.5 months for the majority of the country to be burnt. The trees were destroyed, 29 lives were sadly taken, 2,500 homes gone. 400 megatons of carbon dioxide were released. In Sydney, after it seen the heaviest rainfall in 30 years. 391 millilitres of rain fell within 4 days, putting out 2 major bushfires. It was 3 times more than the average amount of rainfall for February. We have seen the effects in Scotland too. The summers are hotter and drier, which, yes, it may be nice, but it has devastating effects. The winter, the snow is lighter and comes later each year. We must reduce our carbon dioxide emissions now. The clock is ticking. I'm not scared, I am terrified. I want to go and live my life and forget about climate change, but I can't. We can't. We must reduce our carbon dioxide emissions now. I am fighting for my future and I will not stop till I get climate justice.
Big round of applause to Lily. In addition to carbon dioxide, the IPCC special report about limiting global warming to 1.5 degrees says that methane and nitrous oxide emissions must also be drastically reduced. Methane is 84 times more potent than carbon dioxide over the first 20 years after its release. And nitrous oxide is 300 times more potent than CO2. Methane is mainly produced by agriculture and decaying landfills.
Hey guys, thanks for watching this live stream. I'm Kat, I'm from SYCS Edinburgh, and I wanted to talk a bit about individual change and system change in relation to the climate crisis. So like two things I've seen recently have been adverts, one from Coca-Cola trying to get us to reduce our single-use plastic consumption, and another from BP, the oil company, trying to get us to calculate our personal emissions to reduce them. And I think it's really important to keep in mind that with these companies, they're trying to distract us from the bigger picture and like the overall economic system in which they're thriving, and they're getting away with causing all these emissions in the first place. So like if you have free time because of this lockdown, I think like a really useful thing to do could be to learn more about climate justice in general, just through like books, articles. We'll put up suggestions of stuff we found helpful, but I also think getting involved is like one of the best ways to learn, because we're always learning off each other. But like I think we have to collectively know the causes of the problems we face, like the causes of climate change, inequality, oppression, in order to effectively in our activism push for solutions and like push for significant changes. And like no amount of reusable cups is going to stop companies like exploiting their workers or displacing people from their homes, but what will stop that is significant change, systemic change, which our demands are pushing for, and we can get that through collective action. So yeah.
Thanks to Kat for that great speech. To solve the climate crisis, the clear way forward is complete system change. That's why SYCS is calling for the government to implement a Scottish Green New Deal. Several proposals exist already, but the government has not yet agreed to any of them. Let's do some more chants, guys. Every one of you, all across Scotland and the world, join in as loud as you can. This is a call and response one. The words will appear on screen. What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much.
Right now, we are unable to hold mass gatherings due to COVID-19.
But we must not give up the fight for a future, even in these circumstances.
The coronavirus pandemic may have slightly slowed down emissions.
However, this is not nearly enough, and the fight for climate justice is far from over.
And on the 3rd of April,
Join us in a digital strike for the climate.
Post a photo of yourself with your strike sign.
and don't forget to use the hashtags Climate Strike Online and Digital Strike Scotland.
We need everyone.
So get your friends, relatives, and neighbours on board.
We must act now.
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 Hi, I'm Cora, I'm with SYCS in Inverness, and today's strike is different to any other strike that we have ever done in the past. But the message remains the same. We must reduce our CO2 emissions and take action now. And actually, with lockdown, we have been able to see how much impact we have when we reduce our CO2 emissions. Fish, dolphins and swans have returned to the canals of Venice, as well as the water becoming clear for the first time in nearly 60 years. And this has only happened within the space of 2 months. So imagine the impact that we would have globally if we carried this on after lockdown. Change is possible, we just have to work for it all together. We all need to work together for this to happen.
Big round of applause to Cora. The coronavirus has shown us how flawed our current system really is. By making changes together, we have managed to make our carbon emissions plummet. If the government was as scared about climate change as they were about the coronavirus, then we would be well on the way to carbon neutrality by 2030, and the youth wouldn't have to strike every Friday.
Listen up, world. We haven't been treating Earth right recently, and it's starting to show. The climate crisis, pollution, and the habitat degradation, they don't just affect the polar bears and the sea turtles. Without drastic action by 2030, you and I will be doomed too. Of course, lots of you know this, but can we really change our way of living quick enough to save our planet and ourselves? To answer that, look around you. Our way of living changed overnight, but we keep living. Amazing, inventive, brave people are finding ways to save lives. On the front lines, in labs and manufacturing plants, as well as in food banks across the nation. We can adapt. We will get through coronavirus, and we will find ways to cut emissions so that we can thrive alongside the rest of Earth's life. So come on, join our demand for Scotland to be carbon neutral by 2030, and stay safe.
Thanks to Lucy for that amazing speech. We need to start working now to bring an end to the climate crisis. SYCS demands the net zero greenhouse gas emissions is reached by 2030 to stop climate catastrophe. We demand that the climate crisis is prioritised in education, because education is the first step towards change. We demand that the severity of climate change is clearly communicated to the public, so that everyone realises there is a cause for panic. We demand the implementation of a Scottish Green New Deal to set out how we will achieve climate justice. Finally, we demand the creation of a People's Assembly so everyone can have their say on one of the most pressing issues that we face today. all very much for watching this live stream. I'm Robbie Jar, a member of Scottish Youth Climate Strike, the Scottish branch of Fridays for Future. For more information about us, head over to our website climatestrike.scot and check out our social media. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more. Thanks and goodbye.